All
Hey
right.
everybody, welcome back.
Welcome back. We're back.
Yeah, it's been a
We
while.
got more comics.
Yeah. Before we start though, I actually wanted to point out the fact that we have new art, which has been very cool. Uh, I really like this art a lot.
Ye.
Okay, so we left off on a very interesting note because we effectively stopped right before the start of a whole new story arc. Not just for like not just for like Sonic as a whole, but like this whole section between I believe it's issues like 57 through what was it? Like 71 is all considered like one massive story arc, and
Yeah.
72 basically starts off like a hammer to the face where it's like, "Oh yeah, we have to do the adventure story, so we have to stop this one." It's a
And we
very
really did start again at a really good point because we're about to enter kind of this new arc of the series as
yeah.
they prep for the adventure comics.
Okay. So we read issue 57 and 58 of the Sonic comics, but we also read issues 10 through 12 of the Knuckles comic, which it goes 10, 11, and then 58 in the middle of it, and then 12. So technically it's a four issue miniseries instead of just the three.
Yeah.
But I would like to start off with issue 57, which is very fascinating because when I was looking through the stuff, I realized what this issue was, and I went, "Wow, what a very interesting place to stop. We could just use this as a recap in case we forgot anything." I didn't realize uh when I made that call about like a year ago at this point, we
Yeah.
that it literally was just a recap episode. It's kind of like uh an episode of a TV series where where the cast is like sitting down on like a couch and they're like watching clips of themselves
Yeah.
and like making kind of snide remarks. It literally goes through everything. And when I mean everything, I mean there was a shot of the Sonic Spinball intermediary, and also where pseudo Sonic pushed Sonic into like a a a bush that he was allergic to, so now he's all puffy. And I'm like, why did you need to go over these things? You did not need to do these. Thank you. It just
Well, it's because they had to fill time for the panels.
yeah, but it's like it's so funny because I was really considering like what to say about this issue. And I think what I'm gonna just do is right from the get go. Let me just there we go. Let me just say this one is basically as silver as you get. Uh it's kind of hard to say anything else
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it's not boring, and I like some of the choices they use for the recaps. Because this is essentially going from one arc to the next. So it's like, yeah, it's fine. I'll let this be a silver.
But we should actually talk about something that happens at the end of the issue, because the whole idea was that Sonic and Tails are about to go after Nagus, like wherever he is. And so the way that they're gonna do that is that they're gonna
Oh,
need
I
to
know where he probably is. He's
yeah,
probably under the floorboards staring at them, most likely.
uh yeah, but it's like they need to travel. And by travel, I mean like this isn't going to be like a single day trip. This is going to be like the next month of their life is going to be like traveling all the way
Isn't
around
this
the world
technically
just
the
to figure out
world
where he is.
tour arc?
Yeah.
This is like the world tour arc.
Yeah, I believe it's referred to as the World Tour. So it's like each issue is supposed to be like a little pocket dimension of the universe. Just kind of showing what is out there that isn't just Eggman and Robotropolis. So it's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of get this. This is like filling out the world space, which in a way that's also
And
what
we're
the
gonna get to meet
Knuckles.
some of yeah.
Yeah, it's what the
And
Knuckles
we get to meet some of
side
the
stories is.
best characters in like the comic book series, and they're all secondary characters,
Yeah, it's like,
proving
but
that once again, when the guy stops writing Sonic, he's suddenly really good at writing characters.
yeah, isn't that funny? It's almost like he's not actually like
Yeah.
a Sonic fan or something. Uh,
Oh yeah. Perish the thought.
but I do. Okay, I absolutely dislike the name that they gave to the Tornado one. They named it Winged Victory, and I'm like, it's just not that good.
It's not the tornado,
And the entire reason why they
which is
gave
a
Tails the Tornado, because I'm not calling it the Winged Victory, is that the Tornado was heavily in the promotional stuff for Sonic Adventure 1 as like the thing that Tails is known for is that like Tails is going to slowly become more of an inventor and more of like a gadget type of person. So they needed
which
to
is so
give him
weird.
yeah. And so it's like
It's so weird every time I think that he began as the mascot character and then he became this like actual technical prodigy.
it's very interesting to think about like the arc that Tails goes on in the comics because they have to kind of shoehorn in the stuff from the games as well into his stuff. And so it really does feel like
Worked
that
out great for Tails,
yeah.
terrible for Knuckles.
Uh so yeah, what's really funny uh Sonic makes a joke uh makes a joke and then Sally reminds him that the name Winged Victory was literally named by a committee and it's like, "You know what? Fair." And then I was reminded,
Yeah,
"Oh
that
wait."
definitely does sound like a committee-esque name.
And then I'm like, "Wait a second. Sonic, I forgot that you were on the Mobotropolis Council." Huh.
Until he gets kicked off it for the second time.
Yeah, it's like it is kind of funny every once in a while where I'm like, "Oh yeah, I always forget you're a council member. Why did they make you a council member
He's
again?"
technically a politician, but not by choice. Never by choice.
So, I kind of like how one person kind of put this. Imagine that you're a Sonic comic only reader. You then go on to the
Oh,
next issue which is 58, which is such a tonal whiplash that I
there's
kind
like there's like a second to Knuckles. He's not, but he's in like a really weird outfit, and he doesn't have the spike goggles at all. And Sonic doesn't recognize him.
yeah. So I wanted originally to just do 58 next, but I'm like there is
It would have been really funny, man. We could have done it. We could
uh
have confused everyone.
but the very interesting thing is that like when I was really thinking about it, does 58 even matter? Like,
Yeah. Well,
as in terms of
technically,
like,
yes.
okay, so there is issues 10 and 11, and then there's issues 58 and then Knuckles 12 that are like two mini arcs inside of one storyline.
It
And
definitely gives off the feel that a movie will sometimes give, where it's like, could have been a miniseries instead.
yeah,
Except there is a miniseries, and I really wish they had a different miniseries instead.
yeah. So let's talk
Because we will get
about,
to Rob, but first, are we going to the Knuckles?
yeah, we have to talk about the
Yeah.
Lost Tribe storyline.
I'd completely forgotten about these guys,
You
to be
forgot
quite
about
frank.
Albion. How could you forget about Albion? It's the most important place in all of the Knuckles comic, apparently.
I, you know, at some part of my brain, I misremembered that this place got swallowed up, and that is not how this begins. And I was like, what is, and then I froze, like, oh, that's where this is from.
So, Ken Penders is a religious guy,
And
and
how would we all like to go on the Oregon Trail?
it's like you start looking at this and you're like, wait a second,
Wait a
Ken,
second.
Ken, I know what you wrote. You can't hide it. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So this is a mini series about the echidnas of Down Under because well, like I've been trying to explain, echidnas have relatively three factions. The kind of if anyone is forgot over the year that we haven't been talking about this. So we have uh we have most echidnas, which are a
On
loose
the island.
collection of ideals. And then you have a main part of it be this religious aspect of it where they have this spiritual tie to the ancient walkers. And you have a major faction of them that did not want to give up their technology, uh, and a lot of those got kind of shunned into the a pocket dimension. And then you have the Guardians, which are these duty bound warriors who does not care for the technology or even the religion. It's all about making sure that the echidnas survive, no matter what happens. And a lot of the times, Knuckles is supposed to be this intermediary between all three of these factions, with Julie Sue being his you know uh
Ambassador at this point,
yeah,
almost.
basically being his other
Liaison.
half. And it's very fascinating that it's this is after we went on a story with the Dark Legion talking about him fighting uh the technology side of it, and then him fighting the coyotes of Down Under, uh
Dingoes.
basically him grappling with duty now that he has an actual city to manage. Now he's basically forced into a role that is religious, and it's very fascinating kind of thinking about it overall, that it's
It's
in these.
also really weird that no one prepared him for this job either. This
Not
is an
really.
incredibly, delicate role that Knuckles now has to assume, that he has had zero training or, zero context for. So he is
Unfortunately,
trying
that
to help all three groups, and he's not a help to any of them.
yeah, Aether kind of does that. Sadly, he just kind of shows up in the people's
So
lives
did
and he goes,
Locke.
"I need you," and they just pulls them off into another place. I was like, "Thanks."
He took a 6-year-old boy out to save the world, which sounds really cool when you're 6.
Yeah.
But Tails did almost die twice.
So to kind of showcase this a little bit, the comic basically starts with Knuckles waiting outside of the Aurorium, I believe is what it's called. It's the religious house that they go to pray um to their ancestors. And so Knuckles' mom is coming out of it, and she realizes that Knuckles has been waiting outside the whole time, and he's like, I don't feel right going inside that place. And it instantly sets the tone that Knuckles is not really someone that's comfortable with the spiritual side because he hasn't had to really deal with it because he's been disconnected from
and
their entire
alone
culture.
by himself.
Yeah,
This man had to raise himself. He's not braced to like help the world yet. He does his best, but man, it's rough to be Knuckles.
yeah, it's like, uh, then, like, Aether basically shows up saying, "I need your son," and then he just teleports Knuckles away. Uh, Meanwhile, I'll just talk about all of the side stuff right now that goes throughout the entire miniseries. Julie Sue is basically,
In jail.
yeah, Remington does not want her to leave because he kind of still doesn't trust
He
her
can't
because,
trust. Yeah, and he's right not to trust her. To be quite fair, he doesn't
and
know her.
but the problem is because Knuckles suddenly vanished and no one could really find him, especially and for some reason Archimedes can't find him, and
Well, probably because Aether and Locke are in the way. It's like, no, no, no. He can't have any help. He will
and
ask for answers, and we will give him answers to a question he did not ask for.
although I do kind of find it interesting that his connection to his duty to his duties has basically been stripped from him to fill this role. So I think it's kind of neat, quote unquote. I think it's neat that they didn't let Archimedes come with them so that he only can grapple with the religious side.
Uh-huh.
But uh while all this is going on, Remington is basically like, okay, I'm going to tentatively trust Julie Sue on this. And he gathers up all the chaotics and he's like, I'm going to deputize you, which should have happened a while ago, but because Knuckles is now gone and we can't really like figure out where he is, might as well deputize you now and then basically put Julie Sue within your group. One, so you can keep track of her, and two, she seems to be the most capable fighter out of all of you, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's like her and Vector are it. Oh, Mighty as well, but Mighty is more of a jack of all trades, whereas Vector will just body, body slam someone through a table and call it good.
Yeah, okay. So this is gonna sound really weird, but this is where it comes to. Aether basically places Knuckles in front of the quote unquote lost tribe. And Knuckles is like, okay, what is this? And he basically explains that when the asteroid was coming to hit uh Echinopolis, that there was a group of religious minded individuals that did not want to just
Leave.
leave the ground. And it's interesting because
Isn't his name Arrakis?
yeah, Arrakis is the name of the first
I
miter
clocked
as they're
that
called.
so quickly. I'm like, hey, wait. These guys are traveling through the dunes and the deserts with this guy named Arrakis.
Yeah. Uh
Mm. The
and
religious subtext is strong with these ones.
yeah. And then it's like, okay, so what happened? Because, well, they brought a bunch of resources and technology with them to kind of help survive, but, as time goes on, they ran out of parts to keeping the technology going, and so eventually they just became uh, a nomadic tribe with barely anything to their names, just trying to find someplace to be. And it's like, well, where are they going? And it goes, well, uh they're trying to reach the Holy Land known as Albion. And once they get there, they can basically just set up shop again in Albion. I'm like, okay. And I sat there and I
Where's
nodded my head
Albion?
and I went, Aether, um, the religious subtext of Knuckles being this messiah figure, and you are a Moses looking for an
Subtext.
Aaron. Like, it's
What's
very clear
subtext?
what's going on here. It's like, it's almost painful. It's almost painful, like, how, like, clearly this is written. And I kind of
Why don't
almost
we
want to
just call
compliment
it
them on that.
Echidna Jerusalem and call it good?
Yeah, it's like, it's so funny.
That's
Um,
what it is. It's even by a great sea.
yeah, it's so funny.
It's like once you clock it, it's like it's really the Arrakis part is what is like, oh, you're not clever. This is not subtext. This is overtext.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
doesn't Knuckles' mom ask if he's read the sacred tomes at one point? And I'm like,
yeah. I was like I was like he's like, "My dad taught me everything I need to know about math, science, like physics and all that kind of stuff. He just did not want to teach me the religion part of it because of course he didn't. It's a rival
yeah, of
faction.
course he
Why
did.
would he teach you the
Mhm.
rival factions stuff?"
To his kidnapped son.
Yeah. So, issue 10 ends with Aether ominously looking up into the air going, "It is time for the great calamity." And at that point, the world starts
Basically
to
not helping them as they're falling into the lava.
yeah, and it's like, whoa, okay, what's going on? Is like this is it's like what is it? The day of reckoning or something, whatever he called it, and it's like and so he basically says that everyone needs to like be wary, so that nobody dies, and everyone's like, okay, as like the world starts splitting apart. We'll get into some of the other stuff as well, but I just wanted to give a tentative kind of like okay. I wanted to rate issue 10 by itself. Okay.
I don't think we can do that. That's really hard.
Yeah, which is why like
Because
I
I
just
got a
gave a
score
question mark next to
for
it.
just by itself. I have a score for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what the score is?
What?
It's a bronze. It's a bronze because it's so jarring if you go from this to the next one. And if you pick it out of context, it has nothing for the actual overarch.
Yeah, so if anything, I kind of want to put 10 and 11 together as like one score, because it's hard for me
Uh,
to kind of uh even rate them um away from each other, you know?
yeah.
Because like I'm like, is this a silver? Is it a bronze? Do I hate this? Like what's going on? Uh
I'll give you a sneak peek. I think they're both bronze, to be quite frank.
that's fair. Well,
This
let's talk
should
about it.
have been a miniseries,
Okay,
and
so
it is a miniseries.
issue 10 is where we get most of the story about like the tribe and all that kind of stuff, but this is the most interesting part, okay? Uh so Aether kind of explains his backstory and like where he kind of fits into all of this. So his father had recently died, and his mother, who was the current guardian, basically did exactly what Locke did to Knuckles, even with the jumping into a wall of fire. And Knuckles immediately points out, man, the Guardians really have only one way of dealing with kids. Ah, it's so funny. Uh, And then he just straight up says, "While I was as a guardian, the ancient walkers came to me and basically said that the mitre who was leading the people of this lost tribe had died, and then and then Aether suddenly teleports in by the ancient walkers and is compelled to walk up to the gravesite for like compelled to do so. And so they went, "Oh, you must be the new Miter." Okay. And I was like, "What?" And it goes, "Yeah, you must be the new Miter. So are you gonna lead us?" And he goes, "I feel obligated to
I
do so."
guess.
Because he's like, it would be a complete it would go against my nature to leave another member um of our race just because they're not in the same general area as me. And it makes sense. You know, it kind of makes sense with the way that Aether kind of like talks about the way that he thinks instead of, you know, what he thinks. But it's like uh this is the funniest part. The ancient walkers didn't teleport him to Haven, where his mom is basically saying there's like, "Oh, Aether, what are you doing here?" He goes, you need to be the
What am I
guardian
doing here?
again."
What are you doing here?
Yeah, it's like, you've got to be the guardian again for a little bit because I have to go do this religious thing." He literally dropped his duty just so he can go be a religious leader. Like, completely, like, cold turkey, just going, I refuse to be a guardian any longer, goodbye." And it's so funny. It's so funny kinda thinking about
It's
Aether as a
everything that
character.
Knuckles dreams he could do.
Yeah, and then Knuckles asked the very wise question, "Uh, what's Haven?" And then Aether just spills the beans and goes, "Oh yeah, that's where your dad is probably. Don't worry about it."
She's like, it's like, don't give me answers to questions I didn't ask.
It's so funny. But either way, it is kind of interesting that the Mitre is kind of just another Guardian. In fact, it's
For a
just
different group.
yeah, it's the same concept, it's the same idea, but it is extrapolated out um from the same cultural uh source point, which is a kind of interesting thing that happens with cultures all the time where a similar idea is replicated in another place, but through a game of telephone, it changes from one thing to another. It's kind of like it's kind of like how the story of King Arthur, depending on if it's told by a Roman source, an English source, or a French source, completely changes like the perspective of how the character is as a person and how he interacts with his knights. So it is kind of interesting when you kind of think about, you know, overall uh
The game of
this
telephone cultures have within
yeah.
between each other.
So, without any preamble, Aether just leaves Knuckles in the desert with this tribe going, I gotta
Have
go.
fun, kids.
Yeah, it's like,
Here's the scriptures. Have fun.
and it's like, what? What? Why are you doing this? He goes, goodbye. And he just vanishes. And
He
so
also
Knuckles is
says
like,
that there's like captured echidnas that have become Robians as well. I'd
uh,
completely forgotten about that.
yeah. So they continue, uh, they continue traveling, and then suddenly they're not in the desert anymore. They are now in the forest. And it's like, oh,
Sure.
okay. So if you imagine this, you are reading Sonic issue 57, then you read Sonic issue 58, where they are now in very clearly the Nottingham woods.
Uh
And
huh.
you're just like, oh, okay. And then you're like, oh, this is like part of an other storyline. I haven't been keeping up with Knuckles. I'm gonna read issues 10 and 11 to kind
That's
of
so
see
deeply
where we are.
unhelpful.
And you get all of this like information about Knuckles. You get this day of calamity or something that affects the weather around the planet, And uh, suddenly, that day of calamity is not happening anymore. Nothing else is really going on, and now they're in the forest. And then you look over, and there is a character who is literally named Mary Ann, and I go, "Oh my gosh."
Maid Marian. Haha. Where's Robin Hood? Oh, just you wait. And he's
Yeah,
way more important than he first seems.
okay. I laughed really hard when I read the name Mary Ann, and I went,
Hmm.
"Oh my gosh."
I think that's one of the most clever moves Penders ever did. It's like, oh,
And suddenly we have this connection where it's like, okay, so we have a bunch of like roboticized individuals, and we also have not quite generic swap bots. These guys are something else entirely, you know? Uh
yeah.
and again, these are not the roboticized echidnas. Those are somewhere else. Who knows where they are? Apparently
Mhm.
Aether's wife is one of them. Oh, I've
Yeah.
completely forgot to talk about that aspect. So Aether is like sitting there as he's telling the story, and which is like, oh no,
My wife's
my
also gone. I don't know where she is. If only I could use my magical powers to find her or something.
and he then turns towards his son, which his name is Saber. I always forget
Hmm.
about Saber.
More
Uh
on him in the future.
uh he turns to Saber and he goes, "Your grandmother is on her last legs. You need to become the new guardian." And he's like, "I kind of don't want to. Goodbye, son," and then sends him out.
No, Saber runs away. He doesn't send him out
No, but he sends him to be a
because
guardian.
Aether is gonna leave.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Saber, under the tutelage of Archimedes, is going to be the next guardian. And so it was like, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then
This
sits there and
explains
he goes,
everything.
"I wonder if this is why none of my immediate family actually interacts with me." And it's like, yes, Aether, this is why no one likes you.
I think the only one who likes Aether is Tails because he's had the most positive relationship with him.
Funny story. I posted my thoughts on uh these issues of Knuckles into a Discord that I'm in, and someone else who's reading the Archie comics as well basically said it literally took me months to read issue 11 because it was so boring. I'm like, fair. That is entirely fair. Uh, so yeah, like I was saying, like it's hard to kind of take issues 10 and 11 outside of each other. But yeah, I would actually just say that like uh is you do kind of realize that both of them are kind of bronze. Even though there were silver aspects to them, you kind of have to
They're
say both
bronze.
of them are bronze. And that is a real shame because like I kind of like the fact that they are going into this they are going a little bit more into the dynamic that I've been talking about, but they apparently don't care. uh, so we now have to talk about uh issue 58, which immediately starts in issue 11
That's some.
where
Yeah.
uh oh my gosh, what was his name? Yanner. They're Yanar,
Yeah.
uh, who is
Yes.
basically Aether's protege? I forget what he technically is.
I think that's the closest to what he is because his only son ran off. So he
And
had
then
to get a new son from somewhere else.
and he gets thrown into a jail cell. And sitting across from him is Sonic and Tails. And they're like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" And he's like,
It's like, you're
hello?"
weird. We don't recognize you.
It's like, "You look
Want
like
to team
Knuckles,
up?
but you're not Knuckles." Interesting. And it so funny. Okay, so in issue 58, we kind of got like a preview of this in the uh at the end of issue 10, but Sonic and Knuckles, because of the weather, had to kind of like stop for a bit because all the stuff was happening. And because of that, they got accosted by a bunch of robots, which immediately upon seeing Sonic basically went, "Oh,
Oh,
what a weird
it's the
disguise that you're."
outlaw,
Yeah,
Robin Hood. The
yeah.
half-baked guys. It's like, what are you guys talking about?
Uh, Meanwhile, we cut over to Knuckles, who had
Who
to
was about to
stand in
get
a very
shot in the back of the head.
yeah, he had to stand in a very certain way at the end of issue 11 to make sure that the shot at the beginning of issue 58 looks correct. And I'm like, why? Why'd you do this? Uh, but there is something really funny about like Robbo showing up. And I'm gonna just say this right now. As someone with minor dyslexia, I hated reading his text.
Oh, yeah, that would be really bad.
But it's like it's
I, however, do not have dyslexia, and he's also hard to read.
yeah. But Robbo the Hedge is literally just Robin Hood, but as a hedgehog.
Painted blue. Yeah,
Oh,
he's painted blue.
teal? I think it's more of like a greenish blue, or at least a lighter blue.
Now,
It is
you
not the
know I
same blue
can't
that
see that
Sonic is.
color, pal. You
Yeah.
know I can't see teal. Don't try me with that. He is blue.
Okay.
It's
So
just a different blue.
uh they now need to they now need all four of them to meet. Okay, so all of these characters need to meet up inside the castle and figure out like what's going to happen because they need to rescue all the people before they can get executed or roboticized. And Yanar does something really cool where when they're going to take Sonic to be interrogated. Instead, he decides that he is going to act up and attack the guards, and they're like, "Fine, we'll take you first." And as they're dragging him out of the room, he kicks their key that um he absconded with towards Sonic, and I'm like, "What a really quick thinker!" It's like because like it's kind of funny that like you don't really notice character stuff like this until you like really think about who these people are supposed to be. Like Yanora's supposed to
And
be
Yar
this
doesn't know these two kids here either.
yeah,
He was like, oh, they just took the younger one. That
y-
one who's really loud seems to know what he's doing, so I'll give him the keys next.
yeah, but it's like there's also like this kind of nice moment where you realize that like Yanara actually is a probably a pretty good leader for these people. And especially since he's like so like quick-witted when it comes to that kind of thing. Uh So Sonic then escapes, and he's going to find Tails, and another Ken Penders ism rears its ugly head. So Tails, this young kid who's about like 12, is currently tied
Oh,
to the rack,
I hated this scene. It's
and
so
they
bad. I
have
was like, oh,
removed
they're
his
gonna stab
shoes
him. They've
to
got a
tickle
knife
him with
there
a
on the
feather.
table. They've got a knife on the table and they don't use it.
And it's like, uh, Ken, are you okay? And it goes, I'm just gonna tickle this underage character's feet. Don't worry about me. And it's like, do you need the
It's like,
talk?
what if we do? He does. He needs to talk to a cop.
Uh, and it is then revealed who the quote unquote sheriff of this place is. It's
It's
Antoine's
Anton's
dad.
dad. Anton's dad that he got into a fist fight. with like Pepe Le Pew over.
Yeah,
I completely forgot Joffrey's name for a single blissful moment of my life. It
dang.
was amazing. I wish to go back.
Uh, so you have General Decoulé, who is unceremoniously dropped into the storyline, and it's like, oh, okay, this is where he's been.
Man was dead? No longer.
And they have like kind of a fun fight, but I didn't take any notes on it because it's a fight.
You were too disturbed. Yeah. Yes, Tails, put your shoes back on. This is not the comic not to have your shoes on.
So when we first encountered Marianne, she basically went up to Knuckles and said, "Hey, I need to find my two brothers. They're lost somewhere before they got ambushed." But Knuckles basically said, "I think I'm strong enough to go out and look for them. You stay here." And Marion shoulder throws
Dropping
Knuckles
them.
against a tree, saying, "I'm strong enough to take them out to go with you." And Knuckles went, "You know what? You've proved your point. Okay."
Like, I was asking if you wanted to come with. I was not asking if you wanted to do it for me.
Uh, and it's really funny because in issue 58, we then meet a for some reason hooded um Marion, so that it doesn't show her face for a little bit. Not sure why they decided to go with that, but
Too
uh
many faces to drop, probably.
Robbo is trying to do like his uh trying to do his like silver tongue type of like approach, and she immediately just swipes him off of his feet and knocks him into the river, showing that like
Doesn't she know that, like, hedgehogs can't swim? She just tried to kill him.
yeah, and it's like, oh, you're pretty strong, girl. I like you. And then she's like, oh,
Because
thanks.
Knuckles is
I'm gonna
just
marry
being
you too.
third company so hard.
Yeah, it's like, wow, they really hit it off quickly. That's awkward.
It's like, I no longer want to be here.
Yeah. So uh Robbo leads both of them into an old church, and using the hidden passageway under it, goes into the castle and just so happens to pop out just as Sonic and Tails are entering this space. So now all of our main characters are all in one spot. And it's like,
Finally,
yay.
convenience working for us.
And Robbo immediately knows who Sonic is and shakes his hand going, "Oh, you're from you're from Knothole. Yeah, I know exactly who you are. I sent my cousin to go find you." And it's like, "Your cousin?" "Yeah, a
I
Rose.
can't wait
Amy
until he
Rose."
calls her a witch. It's gonna be so funny.
Uh so Robbo the Hedge is Amy Rose's cousin, and this place, Mercia, Mercia? I forget
Yeah,
what the name of
Mercia.
the kingdom is called, is where Amy is from. And when you kind of think about like a lot of Amy's connection to a lot of things with like how she is later depicted, it is kind of funny when you kind of think about, oh, she is supposed to be from like a medieval village. So like for so like fortune reading and like black magic is very interesting to her, and it's kind of neat.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think she is a witch, but maybe Robert was right on that.
Well, she is, but that's not. That's beside the point.
So, they
Calls her a witch for a completely different reason, though.
they find the execution grounds where Yanar is going to be executed, and Robbo says one of my favorite words in all of fiction, which is "zounds." Where it's like, don't say that. Please do not say "zounds." It is a phrase that is way too comedic. I cannot take you seriously if you say that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yes.
let's quickly talk about the B side since we're here.
Hmm.
Maximilian explains how the Sword of Acorn is formed. So, whenever a new king is crowned, in their family line, they then go through a ritual where they step into a pool of gold and silver that adheres to their
It's like
soul.
melted rings, right?
Yeah, it is literally like the material that rings are made out of. And it's a living entity pool. And they step into it, they cover their entire body in the substance. They step out onto a bucket and then let it all like drain off of them. Then that still liquid metal is then forged into a sword. And that sword is now soul locked to that king. And I'm like, huh, interesting. Why did Sally not get one of these? Better question, why didn't future Sonic get one of these things?
Because it's not an acorn.
Probably. It's probably squirrel magic, who knows. Uh
It's a squirrel. The idea of squirrel magic is so funny.
that's literally what Max's dad said. It goes, "This is the source of all of our magic is us stepping into this weird pool to make a sword out of it."
You know, it's not the weirdest thing that this family has engaged in, have to say, but it is up there.
So, let's get it over with. I actually kind of liked this issue for one reason and one reason only. I
It's
really
better.
I really enjoyed how much levity there is to this story. It is very clearly a parody. It's very clearly we're not going to take this story too seriously. There was literally Robin Hood right there.
Yeah.
You literally you have some awkward
Let me
things that
pause
are
for a moment.
completely played for comedy, but besides that, this is more of a like lighthearted story than we've seen Sonic go through in a while. And it was kind of
And the B
refreshing.
side is fun and not irredeemable.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a silver. It's a pretty medium silver, but I kind of sat on it a bit.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I say it is a high silver,
Okay.
almost a gold. Except for that one scene which drags it down into silver. I cannot, in good conscience, give the Tails scene a gold because it's not. It's a stone.
Yeah. It's
If you take out that one scene, it becomes a gold. I love Marianne. I love Rob. I love Mercia. This is one of my favorite areas of this world.
yeah. Now let's talk about Knuckles issue 12. This might be my stone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I convinced myself that this is a bad story arc because of one page of this story. So let's get to it though. Um
Okay.
so Knuckles issue 12 is a mess. Not in
Yeah.
terms of like how it is. It's like, okay, now we have to connect these two storylines together that we just told. And it's like, okay, so what's going on? It's like, well, we have this execution that we need to stop. Okay, that's really simple. Sonic runs in and takes Yanar as he's falling. And it's like, okay, so we have all of these characters that are fighting, it's like they're just fighting and then they're fighting and everything's cool and it's like Robbo like decides to light his arrows on fire. I also like the fact that he has special arrows that like are just to knock people out, you know, so he doesn't put an actual arrow into someone. Can't
Yeah.
have that be on screen.
No. He would kill if they let Enders kill someone.
I kind of liked the Friar Tuck looking character that is a deer that is roboticized. I
Yeah.
kind of liked that character design personally. That was
He's
kind of
great.
cool.
I love the bear.
Um, but as they're
Rob
all this,
also finds some tint too. He also finds some tint. It's labeled as TNT, but it works just as well.
Oh, yeah. Uh, so, um, okay, after a short break, I found what I needed. Okay, so Robbo decides that he's gonna just take down the entire castle using like fire arrows and stuff like that.
Which is a
And
bold move with so many civilians present.
yeah, and so like Robbo basically makes it out, and he also brought Zax and Raynor, which I forgot that that's what their names were. I had to like I quickly like pulled up the comic to like look at them. I'm like, oh yeah, what weird names.
Were they hiding in his pocket?
And
Where did he store them? And he was leaving a burning castle. Shove the two 15-year-olds into your pocket, man? Are you hiding them?
uh by the way, I think your microphone is a little bit further away uh than you,
Oh,
so it's
sorry.
like it's kind of hard to hear
Okay.
you a little bit.
How's this? Can you hear me? I'm like right at
Yes,
the
you're
reach
just
of
kind
the
of
microphone.
soft.
Okay, I don't know how to make myself louder except by being louder. I would rather not do that.
Okay, I turned you up a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So, uh we get a little brief aside to tell us that Locke at least has been told about everything going on, and we also get a little side later with Knuckles' mom being told that like Locke is ready to start talking to her again, which she looks absolutely devastated that he is about to enter her life again.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks like, I think the situation is more, no, she needs to be prepared to have a talk with him.
Yeah, and it's
Like, he
like
needs to wait on her time, quite frankly.
yeah, so it's like so yeah, it's just kind of funny where it's like, okay, I guess stuff is going on in the background still while all of this stuff is going on. And Tails and Sonic basically like wave Knuckles off and is like, "Okay, see you later, guys." And then you think about it and you're like, "Wait a second. This ending feels really awkward because the next issue is going to start the next Sonic issue is going to start without explaining what happened." And I'm like, "Oh, that might be a bit awkward." Uh
But
so uh Yanar basically comes up to Knuckles and said, "Okay, so I got a vision of what is about to happen." Yeah. And he goes, "Well, that guy over there, Robbo, knows where the White City is." And he goes, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, there is a city in a white cliff overlooking a beach. And when we find that, we will reach the promised land." I was like, "Okay. Well, let's ask him. Do you know where the White Cliffs are?" And Robbo basically runs like as fast as possible down a hill to the point where they're like, what's going on?" And
like he's been
Robbo
possessed.
shows that there is this little bay with white cliffs. And he's like,
The cliffs of Dover, right?
"What was that?"
It's the cliffs of Dover, right?
Maybe
Does
I don't
that?
not entirely sure, but like
I would say because it's not like you. I think that unless I'm wrong.
yeah, so you have uh Robbo
Or just
basically
like
points to
not
some ancient ruins that
impossible.
are way out into the center of the bay, and he goes, "I have never gone over there before, but that sounds like the place that you're trying to go to, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, sounds about right." And they're like, "Okay, so what is left for us to do? Cross the water." And it's like, I can't swim. What do you mean go over there?" It goes, "No, no, no. We just walk." And Knuckles has to be the first one to take a leap of faith. And there are several panels of him just sitting there looking at the water. And then, of course, he takes a step, and you can actually walk across the water right here. And all of the echidnas basically start traveling with him across the water, except for Marion, which is gonna marry Rob, because that whole storyline is gonna go over there. And I like how there's like a little side thing of not previously shown off characters of her mom and her dad basically like wishing them good tidings. And they're like, "Yeah, we'll tell you where the wedding is." Like, you guys know each other for like 5 minutes. Why are you already planning a wedding?
Um,
And
because they want.
yeah, so they
I
reach
just
these
love how
ancient.
Knuckles has this whole walking on the water thing, which does not help Penders' case at all.
Yeah, so Knuckles uh, goes with the Echidnas across to these ruins, and the ruins suddenly reconstitute themselves into this ancient, like ancient aliens esque city, just sitting there as a very purple echidna, like very deep purple, like appears next to the city, going, "Hello, welcome. Oh, you have returned to your motherland." And he goes, "What's going on?" And it's like, so you know how we had
Yeah,
like
ancient
really,
aliens does not.
yeah, it's like, you know how we had really good technology at some point and then we lost all of it? Turns out we're just ancient aliens. And 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 my name is, I always forget her name. It's Galena. So Galena is the the manager, the uh is
President's entirely wrong.
she is she is the head moderator of Albion, and she has been keeping track over it for a while. I always forget if Galena is supposed to be like an AI. I forget if that's what she's supposed to be, because she really does act like one with the way that she talks to Knuckles.
Mhm.
And it's like,
And she got this
so
glassy-eyed stare to her as well.
yeah, and it's like, "So what happened?" It goes, "Well, in our strive to reach higher levels of achievement, we established a colony in Down Under." It goes, "Oh, the more things change, eh?"
And also went to the moon as well.
Yeah. And then Yanar basically waves him off, going, "Aether would be proud of you," and Knuckles does not look like he would be proud of himself either. Um,
Aether
and
is never proud. Locke is never proud.
yeah, and then like Yanar basically leaves him with a parting gift of a guiding star gem and just kind of waves him off, and then Knuckles like, "Okay, I guess I'll just go. Goodbye, everyone." End of comic. Like I said, this might be my stone, which is very interesting considering that I've already given.
If I had a stone, I would have given it to the last comic we talked to and talked about. But
uh from like the previous set, or are we talking about 11?
I'm talking about 11. This one's just calling the bag is entirely too generous because that means I had fun at some point in this comic, and I did back when we were in Mercia. I had fun back then.
Yeah, and then it's like ancient aliens type stuff, and then it's like, okay, I guess we gotta just leave this here, I guess.
Yeah, I'll give it a bag for the ancient alien stuff.
Yeah, it's like,
I used to have this rating in my system called a brass, which was below bronze, even though that's entirely incorrect. Um, for how metals go, but
yeah, I think you started referring
like a
to,
low bronze for a bag because like I said, I had fun at the start, and then when Locke showed back up, I'm like, oh,
yeah, uh, for those who didn't catch it, so Jay likes referring to things that are like the bottom of bronze are at least still enjoyable but not terrible as bag because it's a
you don't know what's inside the bag.
yeah
Could be booze, could be a root beer, who knows? Could be a chocolate bar. Who knows what's inside the bag? Could be cocaine. I don't know. I haven't opened the bag yet, but this is not a good bag.
yeah, and it just kind of disappointing overall.
Like if you want an example of a game, a Sonic game that's a bag, it's Shadow the Hedgehog. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's like, and at the same
Because
time
yeah,
it's
it's fun, but at what cost?
yeah, it's like, but at the same time I could totally understand someone looking at this whole thing and then going, yeah, it was okay. But
And
as I mentioned, I
dropping
was
the series entirely from it.
yeah, it's like it feels like that this miniseries was or at least these 4 issues were 5 different ideas that they all kind of stitched together and then basically said, let's do them all at once.
So it could have been a miniseries then.
Yeah, and I feel like they could have had a miniseries about any of these sort of things. Like they could have spent like 2 issues with Rabo, which we basically did, but it just
And
feels
then built
awkward
nothing of
that
trying to trust as like a miter.
yeah,
Like I just thought you could put them for like a day or two at best.
yeah, it really does feel like next day we made it to Albion. So it's like, really, Aether, you couldn't stay like 2 more minutes?
I mean, it does take a couple hours to cross England, so that is fair, but they were on foot.
I just there is just something about okay, I have never liked the storylines that involve Albion because it's just such
I like the idea of this area so much, okay? I know all of the archer crafts, but I'm having fun with every single bag I'm opening up, really.
so okay. So the one thing I will say though is that the reason why I don't like Albion is mostly because of Galena, because of stuff that comes in later. But we'll get there when we get there. Either way,
Oh, so you, I think I know which parts you're referring to, but yeah, it gets bad.
I just don't like her character at all. Uh, either way, we
Character,
are
you're correct, and you can keep saying it.
okay. So you know, besides besides all that, how did you think about these issues like overall? Because
Overall, I unfortunately had fun.
yeah, I basically talked myself into saying that this is a bad story arc, but I kind of liked
The
what was
pieces
going
are
on.
very good. Like when you're looking at it in the overarching view, it's like, okay, this is good because it introduces Rob, it introduces the Coulier, and it introduces Mercia, which is one of my favorite areas. probably just because I really like Robin Hood and King Arthur fairy tale.
Yeah, it's but at the same
Also,
time,
Robin Hood keeps changing from comic to comic, and it's really annoying.
this is sadly indicative of the entirety of the world tour storyline, is that you get these minor ideas for stories, but you don't really get where they're going with it because they're just spinning their wheels until they could figure out what to do with the adventure storyline that they're supposed to do as well.
Yeah, it really does feel like that these storylines are on hold until they can get a different head writer to actually give these arcs the breathing room they need.
Yeah. I'll think about whether or not uh Knuckles 12 gets my bronze for sorry, gets my stone for this set of issues, but like it really
If you don't
is.
give it a stone, give it a stone.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to sit on it though. Either way, I guess we're good on that. First first podcast back. Uh first podcast back to the Sonic comics. I think it's yeah.
This is a good place to start back up to remind ourselves how ludicrous all of this is.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, we'll see all of y'all next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.